Okay, so can we have a talk here? And this might make some people uncomfortable. And it also might surprise some people because I was a Democrat for 20 years. I was a Democrat from the time I was 18 up until the time I was 20 years older than 18, which of course is 29 perpetually. But I was a Democrat for a long time. I left the Democratic Party really in 2019. I kind of fumbled around a little bit and then I became a libertarian. And I honestly, in my heart of hearts, am still a libertarian. But here's a reality that I've come to recently that I think might surprise some people because of my background, I am a little bit more of like a socially liberal person personally. I don't care what race people are. I don't care what gender people are. I don't care who you sleep with. I don't care what you do with your body. I don't care what drugs you do. I really don't care, okay? Like on a personal level, it makes no difference to me at all. Some might hear this ideology and think, oh, maybe Carlin's more of like a classical liberal, right? Like she believes in free speech and free ideas and, all this stuff. And she's more socially liberal personally. And so people might think that I'm a classical liberal, even though I've said repeatedly that I'm not. And the reason that I'm not is because there is a big fucking problem with classical liberalism. There is a big problem with people who embrace classical liberalism, like James Lindsay, like Michael O'Fallon, who's the guy that funds New Discourses, which is James Lindsay's website, like Konstantin Kisin of Trigonometry, like all these kind of like moderate influencers online that are just like, hey guys, if we're nice and we just talk to each other and we have a free exchange of ideas, we're going to be able to save the world. Here is the reality. Classical liberalism is going to kill us all. And again, I know people are probably surprised to hear me say that. And they're like, what are you talking about, Carlin? How could classical liberalism kill us all? Well, let me explain. Because the whole thing with classical liberalism is that it's like a live and let live thing. Like you go and do your thing and we're going to do our thing. And then we're going to come together and we're going to debate and we're going to have a free exchange of ideas. And then the best idea is going to win. It sounds great in theory. And in an ideal world, yeah, I guess that does sound like a pretty good thing. But we do not currently live in an ideal world. We currently live in a world where the left controls everything. They control everything. They control the public schools. They control entertainment. They control media. They control every aspect of our lives. They control the government. They control every aspect of our lives. And not only do they control everything, but they're so far ahead of us that it is near impossible on a good day for us to ever catch up to them. And that's reality. So now what classical liberalism does is it puts us on an even playing field with the left. And we say, hey, maybe your ideas are just as good as our ideas and we should all be allowed to have these ideas and really live and let live at the end of the day. We can go do whatever we want and you can do whatever you want. And, maybe we just move to different states and you move to a blue state and we move to a red state and then we can agree to disagree and all that stuff. Well, guess what? Well, we are cucking to the left and allowing them to continue to do everything that they're going to do anyway to destroy this country. They're just keep pushing further and further ahead. They just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And they're not going to stop the drag queen story hours. They're not going to stop the gender ideology in school and the comprehensive sex education that are teaching your daughters that they're really sons and giving them fake dicks in school to practice having a penis, which they're not going to tell you about, by the way. As they change their names and pronouns to a boy, the school is going to continue to do all of this shit. And in your ideology where you're embracing this classical liberalism thing, that's okay because, hey, let's just come together and debate ideas and the best idea will win. Well, guess what? Most of our population is stupid. I'm sorry, that's just true. The schools have successfully dumbed us down. And most of the population is not going to engage in an intellectual debate. Most of the population is going to do exactly what the TV tells them to do. And what do you think the TV is going to tell them to do? Embrace all the crazy ideas of the left. That is a significant majority of our population. And under this idea of embracing classical liberalism, that will literally never change. That's reality. We are not in a position to just have this live and let live thing, even though, again, in my heart of hearts, I don't give a flying fuck what people do. But do you know how I think we get queer out of the schools? Do you know how I think we get queer ideology out of the schools? Now, as a reminder for people who may not have watched my previous videos, being queer is not about being gay. It's not about being trans. Actually, a straight white man can be queer. All you need to do to be queer is to say that you are, because queer is a far left political ideology that is designed to fundamentally destabilize our system. All of the gender stuff taught in schools is related back to queer ideology. It's about abolishing the gender binary, abolishing men, and abolishing women. That's why non-binary is a thing. Non-binary literally means no binary. That's why queer people identify as they, them. They're rejecting the gender binary. Anyway, all of this stuff is being taught in schools from the time these kids are 5 years old. Do you think we're going to be able to get this stuff out of the K through 12 public schools that we all pay for, by the way, by going up and saying, "Hey guys, can we have a nice conversation and a free exchange of ideas, and can maybe we just talk about this, because I don't really want my autistic child learning how to masturbate in 3rd grade by being taught by the teacher's aide how to do it." That's stuff like that's literally happening. I'm not making that up. Stuff like that is literally happening. Look up autistic sex ed on my YouTube channel. Look up autistic sex ed on my Substack, Karlyn, KARLYN.substack.com. I didn't make that up. Do you think we're going to be able to go into the schools and say, "Hey, do you guys think that, maybe you guys could reverse that policy where you're not telling parents if our kids are identifying as a different name and gender at school? Because that just seems kind of wrong. Can we have a conversation about that?" Because parents have been trying to do this for literally years now. I've been in the so-called anti-woke activism space for 4.5 years. I was talking about critical race theory before most people knew critical race theory existed. I've seen this, what happens in this space. I've seen people do this over and over and over and over and over again. And they're spinning their wheels. Nothing is happening. And in the meantime, things are just getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and more kids are identifying as genderqueer, gender non-binary in the public schools than ever before. So how do we get this queer stuff out of schools? Because it's not going to be classical liberalism. That is not what is going to save us. I'm sorry. How we get the queer shit out of schools is we outlaw it. We ban it. Here's what I want to do. Unironically, this is actually in my dream world where I run the country. This is what I want to do. I don't want to just do this book banning thing that Moms for Liberty is doing, where they file a form to get one book out of the library at a time, and getting that one book out of the library literally takes months and years of meetings to get that one book out of the library. I don't want to do that shit. I want to ban all queer books overnight. I want them all removed from the library. I want them brought out into the school parking lot, and I want them burned as an example of what we will no longer tolerate. I want a prohibition, a moratorium for 10 years at least on any further publication of any queer material, anything. Again, this is not about being gay or trans. I don't care if people are gay or trans. Queer is a far left political ideology that does not align with American values. That, quite frankly, if it's not legal to teach communism in this country, and it's really not legal to teach communism in this country, these materials aren't even legal anyway. So I want all the queer books removed from the libraries. I want them burned in the school parking lot as an example. I want young kids roasting marshmallows on that bonfire to celebrate that they will not be taught this shit growing up. I want a moratorium for 10 years on the publication of all queer material. I don't want any more of it produced. And if someone starts teaching this stuff to kids, they get put in jail. They get put in re-education camp. That's just it. And that's the way it's going to go. Now, that is not a classical liberal ideology, and that is not a classical liberal solution, but I strongly believe that is actually what's required. And some of you are going to say, "But Karlyn, what about freedom of speech? What about freedom of speech?" And I'm not unsympathetic to that. I'm not. However, do you want to win or do you want to lose? Because free speech means these ideas not only will still be taught, but they will be taught to a greater degree tomorrow than they are today, because the left is just going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. So what do you want? Do you want to win or do you want to lose? I want to win. I don't want queer ideology in schools anymore. I want no more stupid shit in society. I want this stupid stuff done. I want it gone. And classical liberalism is never going to get there. Classical liberalism is going to lead to the left winning. It's going to lead to them winning sooner than you think, probably within our lifetime. It's going to lead to all the kids identifying as non-binary eventually. That is actually what they want. They talk about this in their trainings. It's going to lead to the complete upheaval and overthrow of the American government. It's going to lead to the abolition of the USS Constitution. You can come and watch socialist trainings with me. They talk about this openly. They are going to win if we embrace classical liberalism as the solution. Now, maybe after we have done away with this existential threat to society, maybe then we can start to have conversations again. But I really don't believe that anything less than that is going to change the course of things. And people can call me a fascist if they want. I don't really care. I don't really care. Because I would rather be a fascist than a fucking communist every day of the week. And I really think that that is the choice that we're making right now. And I think all these influencers online, this woke right campaign that is trying to convince people, what the woke right campaign that James Lindsay and Konstantin Kissin and that guy Seth Dillon from Not the Bee and Colin Wright and any other influencer who you see talking about the woke right, what they're doing is they're telling conservative Americans that they have an obligation to become more moderate, to become more centrist, or else they're going to dub them as woke. That's absurd. They're trying to force classical liberalism on conservative right people. And if they win, then we will lose, and it is really that simple. So do you want to win or do you want to lose? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. What do you think? Do you want to win or do you want to lose? That's all I've got. We'll see you soon.